Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Good on Paper is a new movie on Netflix written by Iliza Shlesinger, also starring Iliza, directed by Kimmy Gatewood. It's a romantic comedy. Iliza Shlesinger is the main character who plays a comedian who meets a guy who turns out to be not what she expected. It's like a relationship, one of those rom-coms where it's like they start out in the friend zone, and then just because he's nice and around all the time, they end up getting together. Once they get together, you realize that he's being dishonest about things. I'm going to say that I did not like this movie right up at the top. Was not a fan. I'm going to be talking about the many reasons why I didn't like this movie, which is a bummer because I am a big fan of Iliza Schlesinger's stand-up comedy. She has multiple specials on Netflix, which I have watched and enjoyed. She had a sketch show on Netflix, which I watched and enjoyed. She's an amazing actress. She's been in a ton of movies recently. Not necessarily main characters. This might be one of her first lead roles, but she's amazing every time I see her pop up in a movie. She's amazing. So it's for all those reasons, the fact that I'm, such a good fan, big fan, and, had high hopes, I guess, for this. Not that I had a high bar for it. I wasn't expecting this to be like some, mold-breaking kind of film experience. I kind of knew going in, rom-com. But it's a comedy. I thought the comedy, which there was good comedy. The best parts of this movie are when Iliza Shlesinger is on screen with Margaret Cho, another amazing comedian. She plays Margot, a bartender that Iliza hangs out at when she's not doing stand-up. It was also awesome to see the Comedy Store, similar to one of Dave Chappelle's specials. So a lot of the comedy was filmed in the Belly Room, which is a tiny room that I've been in, and I've seen comedy shows there many, many years ago. And it is amazing to see how well that room looks when a director has the opportunity to show it, because it's like in reality it's a very haunted looking room. It's a tiny little room, but for whatever reason it looks amazing. Anyway, I like that part. Anytime she's on screen with Margaret Cho, love that. That's about it. I mean, the overall premise is good. Definitely, let's get into some spoilers. Let's get into some things that I don't like about it. Something that I wish would have happened. I wish the male character, the friend-zoned love interest guy who is played by Ryan Hansen, his character name is Dennis. I would have loved to see, his character is supposed to be this mildly ugly, not super ugly, but like just super average dad bod guy that just like a plain guy, like most comedians. Let's just say most male comedians should have been cast in this male position, because the guy that they cast is a gorgeous dude. He's like a cross between a young Matthew McConaughey and a Brad Pitt. He's kind of got like that, just good-looking white dude, generic Ken doll type of a look in real life. Now, what this movie does is they put some fake teeth in to give him a bit of an overbite. They gave him kind of a shitty haircut. He wore like a dad bod fat suit. Like, it's clearly like a padded suit that he's wearing under his clothes. And then they clearly had body doubles in moments where they're showing where like Iliza Schlesinger's character's talking about this average guy, because the whole point of this is that, it's the premise is that, if a guy's nice and hangs around a lot, then eventually he could get a chance. There might be a drunk chance and he could get a chance to, something might happen. The door might become open eventually if the guy hangs around long enough and is just nice. So definitely any comic, because all of the comics that are in this, which I think is just Margaret Cho, I guess Adam Ray plays a small character in this. There's little cameos here and there, but would have made this movie far better. I mean, just having a guy that's an average looking dad bod kind of a guy, then you wouldn't have to do all these obvious cuts. You wouldn't have to and if you got a comic, to play this, then there would have been better, just overall acting chemistry would have been better. So I didn't like that part. I did not like that part at all. There is the part of the way this movie is told is with a bunch of voiceover, which was this movie's doing a lot of things that it doesn't need to be doing. It is so much stuff could have been cut out. Voiceover stuff, horrible. It is just takes you out. It's Iliza Shlesinger doing this. It almost feels like some Hallmark movie voiceover between parts. It also has these Jerry Seinfeld-esque, the TV show Seinfeld-esque moments where she's on stage doing comedy, and the things she's talking about in these comedy moments are things that you're about to watch in the movie or have watched. But it's those moments similar to Seinfeld, the show, where when you saw Jerry on stage, it's generally he's telling a joke that's related to the plot of the movie, at least one of the plot lines of the movie. So there's moments of that as well, which, fine. I mean, she's a comic. That's what comics do. They kind of process their experience and their life into material. The voiceover could have gone. The comedic parts, maybe they were just too on the nose. We know what's going on. We know the premise, it's kind of a bummer. And he's a nice guy. He's unattractive. So much of it is that he's unattractive, but he's also wealthy, right? He's nice. He's around and he pays for stuff that. It's not really necessarily highlighted as much, but that's why he is around most of the time. Just because you're nice doesn't mean people are going to hang out with you. Just you're nice and an average dude. I don't know. It's whatever. The entire kind of premise of this movie I have a problem with, but I get it. It's kind of a romantic comedy kind of a premise. It's a gender flip premise where instead of it's a guy trying to go after it's not he becomes good looking throughout this movie, but it's a similar trope in a lot of, whatever. I get it. Not a fan. The whole thing, she's also got this crazy petty beef with this actress. They both showed up in LA together. They both started doing comedy together. And this other girl started getting acting roles and stopped doing comedy, and now she's in these movies and her billboards are up. So Eliza's jealous of the fact that she sees this girl that she started with, and Eliza's dreams, instead of just having a dream of being an amazing stand-up comedian, it's I'm into comedy so I can get into acting. It's a stepping stone kind of a thing that happens in LA. There's a lot of which that's interesting because it's a thing, a part of LA. A lot of comedians try to parlay that into either writing gigs or acting. It's common. It's common. But the petty kind of thing, that whole thing didn't really care about at all. Really just, I loved, it should have just been a whole movie of Iliza and Margaret Cho and just them getting into craziness. Because as the movie devolves and she finds out that this guy's been lying the whole time, which was so clear throughout the entire movie. There's not subtle hints at all that he might be lying. It's oh, he's clearly lying, and she just doesn't want to accept it because he's nice and also paying for everything. Not everything, but still, it's like the fact that he has money is 100% would in reality be 100% like not necessarily that she would want his money, but that he is financially independent and doesn't need her money. Uh, so but whatever. The pettiness with her, so he starts lying, and the things kind of devolves into a thing where she tries to get him to confess, and it turns into a whole thing. But everything with Margaret Cho is the best parts of this movie, and I don't know. There's also insane. Like there's this like 2-second scene, right, where I believe it's Iliza and Margot are pulling up to Margot's bar, and there's this scene that shows the SUV driving on I believe it's Sunset Boulevard, but then like it's a really short scene that's just showing the car on Sunset Boulevard, like to make it seem like this bar is on Sunset Boulevard, right? Just quick, what is that? Establishing shot. I don't know what it's called, but that short scene that didn't necessarily need to even be there had just blatant like TV quality, like TV news quality, just things blurred out. Like just chunks of buildings blurred out, like a giant triangle of blur that's not well done. There's parts that aren't covered that you can still see. It's just there clearly was a billboard back there or a sign that they didn't want in the shot, but that for whatever reason they needed to keep that shot. They needed to keep a shot, so they compromised by blurring it. It was the like inconsequential thing, but it's just, what are we doing? How much money did Netflix give you and that shot stays in? Doesn't make any sense. And her whole goal, this like dream of hers, is to get a billboard, right? Because she's been jealous of her friend that's an actor. Billboards are a big thing for people in Hollywood. They love seeing themselves on big billboards. They love taking pictures of themselves in front of their billboards, especially comedians. They love it, and they hate everybody else that gets on billboards. Like, they hate billboards until they're on a billboard because that's what they want. They just want to be on the billboard. Even though it's only people in L.A. that see the billboards, it's crazy. And this billboard that she wants, she loves because it's parallel to the street. So you can see it in either direction, no matter whether you're coming or you're going. And the very end of this film, she finally gets this billboard, but there's a twist. It's not what you think would be on the billboard, or maybe it is, but it's not what her dream would be. Her dream was to have, like her movie, and her big on the, like, this is my movie coming out. But the billboard they show is not parallel. Like, they made a point in the dialogue of this film to tell her thing, I know the billboard, it's parallel to the street because you can see it going in both directions. A line in the movie. The billboard they chose and the billboard they use and the billboard they show is not parallel. It's perpendicular. It's only showing, you can only see this billboard driving in one direction on that road. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's like, did you not read the script? And if you did read the script and it's like, oh, we couldn't get a billboard that's parallel to the street, why don't you change the script to reflect it and just say, I really want to get a billboard. There's this location that everybody drives by. Like, you don't need to go out of your way to say that the billboard is parallel to the street so you can see it going both ways and then show a completely different billboard. It's just like so many, it's so much of this seems unfinished. Like, it's a first draft. Like, all of the voiceover stuff is ridiculous. The constant cutting to her on stage, telling you what you're about to see in joke form or just saw in all the Seinfeld type moments. It's just too much. It's just too much. It should have been a simple movie with Iliza, Margot going on crazy things, and there's this average dude that's like another comic, I don't know. Throw a dart in the LA comedy pool, and you're going to hit an average build, dad bod, white, brown, black dude that could have easily stepped into that character and just knocked it out of the park. And they could have gone on these like a crazy night kind of adventure, and it would have been an amazing movie, and I would have been really happy. But I really did not like this movie for so many reasons. Aside from the fact that Iliza and Margaret Cho are amazing together, and I hope they do something more together. Just work with more comics. And maybe it was a studio thing. Maybe it was like, oh, we need to get this guy because he's he's going to draw the women in. I don't know. But it's dumb. It's dumb. So it's good on paper is the movie, and it's on Netflix. And I wouldn't recommend it. It's not horrible. It's not like the worst. It's like there are far worse rom-coms out there. But it's got a lot of problems, and I would never watch it again. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But yeah. Good on paper, which is this movie was better on paper than in film. Get yourself some amazing coffee over at stationhousecoffee.com and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. It's the place that makes the small batch, single origin, premium coffee. It's brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont. It's shipped directly to you. Go over to stationhousecoffee.com and order yourself some amazing coffee today and let them know The Ray Taylor Show sent you. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!